I am thrilled to introduce to you today Dr. Anissa Holmes. Met Dr. Holmes a little more than a year ago, and she's super successful at helping teams build practices, get better case acceptance, learn new techniques of marketing. We've learned a lot from her, but really her focus is on leadership, effective case presentation, and implementing high return marketing. I'm going to read some of this because this is impressive. She's been named one of Ultradent's female icons of dentistry. Dental Product Report's top 25 women in dentistry. She's been featured in Dental Economics, Dentistry IQ, Dental Products Report, Entrepreneur Magazine. She's also the author of a best-selling book, Delivering Wow. And we asked her to come today because she gives such good practical information to you that you can really put to use on day one. And she's also just a fabulous human being. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Holmes.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. I am so excited to be here. You have no idea. I met Tanya a few years ago, like she was saying. She actually came to speak at my summit, our Delivering Well Summit. And at that time, I got to learn a lot more about Perio Protect. And I actually implemented it in my practice. I have a dental practice. I've got, now this year we've grown, we have 4 associates. I actually own the practice. I practiced for 20 years clinically. And now I have an office manager that operates as my COO, and she runs the business with my associates and a partner doctor so that I can focus full-time on coaching and teaching. But what's really exciting is that because I was implementing it in my practice, and I also coach practices as well on how to grow and scale their profits and their business and create systems and implement marketing, I was actually using my practice as a case study while helping other practices as well. And what happened was that we came up with really great strategies to be able to help our teams to be able to get really good results. In fact, some of the providers that I've worked with, within 1 or 2 months, they had so many cases that they were like begging Perio Protect for more boxes, right? Would you guys like to know how they did that? Yes? Awesome. Well, before we get there, I just want you to know a little bit about who we are as dental professionals. I am a real dentist again. And for me, you know, we could have chosen any other profession, couldn't we? All right? It doesn't matter if you are the doctor, if you are the dental assistant, if you're the scheduler, hygienist, it doesn't matter. We're all in this business because we are healers. We're all healers. Or we would have chosen to do something different. We would have been working at an accounting office, or we would have been in retail or doing real estate. But we all chose, we make a decision to be healers. And what that means is that we really need to understand how we can better help our patients to become healthy. And I'm a raving fan of Perio Protect. Everybody knows it because I see what it's doing for my patients. It's healing them. And so what I'm going to talk to all of you today, whether you're here in the room or you're here online, I wish I could see you guys online on Zoom, is how you can effectively be able to heal and help more people. Yes? Awesome. Good stuff. That's the wrong clicker. So my goal today is to help you understand how to create a circle of focus to grow your dental practice, because it's more than just marketing. It's more than just case acceptance. It's systems also that's going to help you be successful. Teach you how to empower your team doctors and office managers so you can all earn more, achieve more, and impact more. And I'm also going to show you how to leverage systems and tools to be able to grow even faster. Now, before I start, I always like to start with sharing that we really need to think about our why. Why are we doing this? Okay? For me, it really is more than I want to be able to make a certain amount of money, or I want to grow my business to a certain point, right? It's like, why am I doing this? Right? Why am I going to work every single day? And I really want you to challenge yourself to think about your why and why you're going to work every day. It is to heal people, but we have personal whys. And for many of us, it is to be able to do more for their families, right? To have more for your families. And by the way, how many of you guys want to be able to do more for your kids or your families than what you had growing up? I want to see your hands. Hi. It's okay. Hi. I do as well. I do as well. And I want you to understand that when we come together to be able to grow our practices, guess what happens? That business allows us to be able to do more for our families. I am very proud that our business is in a position that I can now put my kids in amazing schools, right? Their tuition is very expensive. Their high school is $70,000 a year. It's setting them up for success to be able to go to great colleges or universities. I'm proud of that. I'm not apologizing for that, right? I love that my team members have bought their first homes, their first cars. They've traveled internationally with me. We've been on cruises together. We do vision boards and they say, Doc, come let me show you something. Look, I've done everything on that board because I've been a part of this practice. I've done everything. And I just want to thank you. And I said, no, thank you. Because if I try to pick up this table here by myself, I can't do it, can I? I could try. And walk across the room? No way. Right? If I ask you to help me, what's your name? Becky, can you help me? All right, we're going to do it. Still a little heavy, right? But if we all pick up one little piece of the table, then now we can quickly walk it to the back of the room. And that's the key to success. Not just with Perio Protect, but with everything that we do, right? If we can do it together. Guys, let me just say this. Yes, I'm a doctor, but honestly, I'm Anissa, right? I'm just a person. I'm just a human. I just want to help people. I want to be able to do more for my kids and my parents who are aging. We all want the same thing, right? And if it was not for my assistant, I mean, what happens if I go to show up and there's no etchant today? I can't work. What if Mr. David, who cleans the floor, he's no longer cleaning the floor? It's not going to be a good business with a dirty floor, is it? What if the person who answers the phone is not there to answer the phone? Is there going to be a patient for me to see? No. No one is more important than anyone. We're just all there to help each other. And I need you to understand that, because the circle of focus in growing your Perio Protect practice is not about the hygienist. It's not. It's not about the dentist. It's about what we can all do collectively as a team to be able to heal more people. So when we start implementing, we're saying, okay, front desk, what can you do? Right? And that's the reason why when we start implementing any new service, whether it's Perio Protect, whether it's Vivos, whether it's any service that we want to implement, Invisalign, clear aligners, whatever it's going to be, we have to make sure the entire team is trained. And so I love that at this particular event, whether in person or online, we've got teams training. And if your entire team is not here, contact them. Perio Protect was awesome for doing online training for my team. And everybody knows the benefits, so we can all talk about it. But for me, my bigger why, it really is impact. Here I am in Kenya. I'm building a classroom. Part of my why for my coaching company is impact. And so I'm actually going back in March to help build we built another school. We're going to be opening it. And it's really awesome, right? In my dental practice, we've built classrooms. Sorry, my dental practice has put whiteboards in schools, in inner city schools. We have built playgrounds, computer labs, okay? So when you have a practice that has a big purpose, then now everybody in terms of your doctor, the team, the culture, it's great. And now we're driving for something else. And I used to be a little weird or very embarrassed about money because I didn't grow up with a lot. And I used to feel very weird because I wanted more. I did want more. And I used to feel bad about wanting to make more money. Anybody feel bad about that? Or is it just me? Yes? Just be real. Okay. When I speak, I like to just say, can I just be real and vulnerable for today? Is that all right? Can we agree? Yes? Okay, great. How many of you have ever felt weird about wanting to make more money and were embarrassed to say it? Yes? Awesome. I want to change that belief. I want to give you a new belief today. Okay? I want you to know that the more money we make, the bigger impact that we can make. The more money we make, the bigger impact that we can make in the community, doctors for your teams. It's incredible. I love that when my hygienist says, Doc, can I go to New York and take a course on myofunctional therapy? I'm like, sure, whatever you want to do. Doc, we need to buy a new chair. Cool. Get the new chair. I love that during COVID, I was able to pay my team. I never had to lay them off because we have cash that is reserved for a rainy day fund. I am not unapologetic for wanting to have freedom. I don't want my team members wondering if they're going to get to be able to cash their checks. Do you guys understand? So it's okay. And team members don't want to be in a practice that they have to worry. All right? So I just want to put that out there. But really, let's just start with our why. And in our dental practice, this is our why. This is why we go to work every single day. I'll tell this story about Mr. Chin. Mr. Chin came in, and he was very nervous. I don't know if you've ever had a patient, or if it's just me that has ever told you this, but he walked in and he says, Dr. Holmes, I want to get my teeth done, but if I get my crowns done, it's going to pay for your car outside, right? Anybody ever had that happen to them? I was like, Mr. Chen, let me just say this. I'm actually okay. I'm all right. But what I need you to know is that when I finish treating my patients and I do their work, many of them start to cry because I've changed their life. And if that's what you're looking for, then you're in the right place. He found me on Facebook. He found me on social media, and he came back later and he says, Dr. Holmes, I just want to apologize. He says, I was just very nervous, and honestly, I was just testing you. That's my personality. He says, but you did change my life. He says, and thank you for what you're doing on social media. He says, I've been following you for years. I was just afraid. And I started to see what you were doing, how you were serving the community hard, listening to other patients share their stories. And I decided to come and to have the courage to walk through the door. And so that's the power of the marketing that we do, right? But when we get the patient into practice, what happens next? And that's our team. I want to teach you about the power of belief. I need you guys to do me a big favor. Repeat after me. Believing, believing, believing. Okay. We're going to have to do that again. Believing, believing, believing. All right, one more time, and I want everybody outside to hear us. Believing, believing, believing. That was good. Now, in between the words believing, 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 there are some smaller words. And those smaller words are believing be living, and be lying. And you might say, well, what does that mean? You guys see those little words in between that? And what that means is that how we live, the things that we do, the actions that we take, are always based on the lies that we tell ourselves. Okay? Let me say that again. How we live, what we do, our actions are always based on the lies that we tell ourselves. And so you say, well, what are you saying, Anissa? Well, a few years ago, I was on a plane, and as I was about to take off, I was actually here next to the window, and there was a middle seat wasn't taken, and there was a lady sitting right there. And as we started to take off, she started to cry, and she started to shake. And I looked at her and I said, I put my hand on her shoulder and I said, are you okay? And she looked at me and she said, no, I'm not okay. She says, I'm scared. This plane is going to crash. I'm afraid. And I said, ma'am, plane's not going to crash. And she says, how do you know? And I said, because I'm on it. And I have a calling, and it hasn't been fulfilled yet. So it's not going to crash. Now, is that true that it's not going to crash because I'm on it? No. In fact, you might call it a lie. But guess what? Over here, she's telling herself another lie. And so now her actions are based on what she's telling herself. Everything that we do in life, guys, is all about stories that we tell ourselves. And a lot of it goes back sometimes to childhood, what we've been told, what somebody said to us one day. But when we adopt a new belief and we start to feed ourselves with beliefs that we can do things, all of a sudden things start to happen. And so we need to start learning how to empower us to take action in the present, and we need to learn how to change I can't statements into how can I statements. I can't do 10 Perio Protect cases this month. We're just getting started. Oh no, yes we can. The question we should be asking ourselves is, how can I do 10 cases this month? Because there's another practice that did 10 cases this month. What did they do? Because I just do what they do and all of a sudden I get that result. How can I? Right? I can't grow my practice because I don't have the right team. How can I get the right team so that I can grow my practice? I can't double my revenue like Anissa says practices are doubling revenue. How can I double my revenue? It's all by reverse engineering. You can do anything that you want. I can't lose 50 pounds. How can I use 50 pounds? And you create a plan and you act on it. Guys, I've done some really interesting things, like Tanya said, right? My book's in Barnes & Noble. I've spoken in front of 5,000 people teaching marketers how to market to small businesses. I'm the first female podcaster, dentist in our industry. I've created masterminds where our practices are doubling revenue. They're growing revenue 200,000 over the previous years that month. People are getting time off. Doctors are getting to freedom. The teams are being able to take care of their families. And you know what? I knew I'd do all of that because I just put it in my mind of what I was going to do, and I reverse engineered and asked the question, how? And you can as well. This is our academy, so just to know a little bit about us, we do train teams. We train doctors on leadership, case acceptance. We train insurance coordinators on how to do insurance. We help doctors and teams with hiring. We train office managers to be the COOs, and I work one-on-one with doctors to reverse engineer their growth strategies. We have an online academy, and we also do coaching as well, and I'm really proud of it. Here are some of our coaches that also do Zoom call training with our teams. the best in the industry. Katrina Sanders does hygiene. We have lots of amazing coaches, and it's awesome. I want you to think about your top goals. Set your goals, guys. Make them bigger and reverse engineer how. Anybody think that you can, I'm just asking you, anybody think that you could double your revenue in your practice this year? Believe. How many of you believe you can double your business? And even though you are an established practice, you can double your revenue this year. Any other believers? I believe it. I believe it. And what I'm going to share with you today is showing you some ideas and some strategies of how. Right? I was just talking last week to a doctor. There's a Dr. Gupta. I don't know if you know Dr. Anka Gupta. He's in Ohio. And his wife, Nisha. And they're great people. And they're not money driven at all. Everything is about the team and the community. And I said, let's reverse engineer your next year. And we started to look at the past year, the services, how behavior changed from month to month. Why is it that this service, you did a lot of it that month, but then the next month you only did a third of that? What happened in that good month? Do you want to do more of that? We reverse engineer. What new services should you implement? You're not doing Perio Protect. Let's look at if you actually put that in, how that could impact. And if you got good with case acceptance and marketing and you had your team on board, could you start with 2 cases, then 4, then 8, then 16, or 10? Or maybe just do 8 for the rest of the year? And she said, at the end of it, I said, is this plan doable? She says, it is. It's 100%. I said, you want to see what the revenue would be? It was double. And she says, I was always afraid to double that, to say I wanted to double, because I was afraid that I have to do more work to make that double. And honestly, I wasn't willing to do a lot extra because I'm already tired, right? And I've got kids. But it's all about how and strategy, all right? So over the next few hours, I'm going to be talking about case acceptance. Yes, that's why you came here. We're going to be doing some workshopping. I'm going to talk to you about marketing that you can do to implement. But we first have to talk about systems. Okay, because understanding case acceptance and understanding marketing without having a system to be able to scale your practice of Perio Protect, you're not going to reach your goals. All right, so I'm going to share some strategies that our practices that are winning with Perio Protect are using in terms of systems. And the first is a whiteboard. Okay, so how the whiteboard works, and I developed this framework and I started using it in my practice back in like 2010. And at the time I had a business coach, and she came to me and she says, and I was her only dental client, okay? And she said, Anissa, I want you to, just like all of my other businesses, I want you to go ahead and start writing down all of the different service offerings or products that you have in your business. So she says, make a list. So I made a list. And she said, okay, great. Now what I want you to do is I want you to look historically at the last 3 months and look at the quantity that you've done of each service. All right, so crowns. How many crowns have you done? 28 crowns, 25 crowns, 32 crowns. And she says, now what I want you to do is I want you to set some goals for each one of those services of how many you want to do. And I said, well, that's all great, but that's not going to work in dentistry. Because if somebody needs a crown, I can't tell them they need a crown. Like, I can't go, you need a crown, and you need a crown, and like Oprah, you need a crown. We can't do that. So I said, this is not going to work. And she says, no, you don't get it. You don't understand. When you start looking at things like this, it allows you to be able to hold yourself accountable to having conversations. It allows you to change the dynamic of the month before it actually ends. And as I've started to use this, and I've trained probably thousands of practices now on this method, I've discovered that it does a lot of other things. If you say you want to start Perio Protect and you are in the second week of the month and you've done 0. What does it tell us? A few things. Number one, you're probably not having conversations about Perio Protect. What else does it say? Well, maybe your team is not fully trained yet on how great the service is or how we can help people. So we need to go back and we go and make sure, and we ask the team. We do this in the morning huddle and we'll say, we haven't hit it yet. Guys, can we just, again, just be real and vulnerable. There's no excuses, blame, or denial here. We just want to figure it out. Like, what's the real issue? And I'll say, do you guys feel like you're comfortable? Like, do you really understand how this is helping people? And if they say no, we know that's where we need to focus, right? Or what we can do is say, you know what? What's the real issue? The issue is we said we were going to do a Facebook Live last week to talk about how do we effectively treat gum disease or oral health during a pandemic or any one of these things. And I'm going to go through some marketing strategies with you guys today. But guess what? We didn't do it. We didn't do it. Right? And so now this holds us accountable to say, go and do it. You guys see how that works? Or the patients are saying, insurance doesn't cover it. And so now we can say, all right, guys, let's go back to our framework, and we're going to focus and break down the framework today of this. There's something that we can do to, maybe somebody has bleeding. Maybe somebody has teeth that are starting to look long. Maybe they know they have perio already, right? There's something that we can do to reduce or stop that bleeding. Would you like to learn more? The patient says, yes. Great. It's called Perio Protect. And how it works is that we give you a little tray, kind of like a whitening tray, and once you use it, your bleeding is going to be reduced, your gums are going to look healthier, and you'll reduce your chances of having gum surgery up to 70%. Now here's the thing. Insurance doesn't cover it, or insurance doesn't cover all of it, or whatever it is in your practice. But why our patients choose to do it anyway is, number one, it doesn't take a lot of time, right? In fact, it's just minutes a day that you have to use these trays. It doesn't cost a lot of money for the outcome that you're going to get and the health that you're going to get and the reduced visits that you're going to have now in our office that will save you money because of it. And it'll give you peace of mind that you're going to have health and you're going to be healthier, especially in a pandemic now where we're seeing patients who have gum disease are going to be more susceptible to be hospitalized. Now we have time today, while you're already here, to go ahead and take the scan. Should we go ahead and get started today? If you guys were using that script, do you think you could have more patients to say yes? Of course, right? Now here's the thing, write that down. Insurance doesn't cover it. But why our patients choose to do it anyway is because. And I'm going to break down the psychology of that and how you can use it for all of your services, whether it's going to be sleep appliances, Perio Protect, veneers, ortho. It works for everything. And there's psychology of it, and we're going to break that down today. But once we start doing it, then now what happens is that we're able to improve. We're able to incrementally grow. And how the whiteboards work is, again, you can see there on the right-hand side, on the, where it's red, that's their goal, right? So they wanted to do, in this case, 30 crowns, 4 implants, 4 Perio Protects. And you can see on the right-hand side, every day you pull a production by procedure code report. You guys know that report? Okay, and it has the quantities of the services, and it also has the revenue. We take the quantity number and we put it there. And every morning, a member of the team updates that, and so we know where we are for the month. And when we hit the goal, we change it from, in this case on the right-hand side, black to green. And our goal at the end of the month is to have green in everything. Okay, really simple system. Okay, what I teach our coaching clients is that you want to have the right people, processes, and tools. Okay, so the people is a team member who is pulling the report. The process is every day they're going to go ahead and update the goal, and the tool is the whiteboard. And if we implement that framework every single time, it's going to work every single time. Okay? A framework, and I teach in frameworks, case acceptance framework, marketing framework. There's frameworks for everything. And a framework is kind of like gravity. So if I drop this here, clicker on the ground, because of gravity, it's going to drop down, right? That's gravity, right? Frameworks are principles just like gravity. If you use them effectively, it's going to work every single time. Actually, let me see what she says here. So very proud of our team's work this month. 3 goals we didn't meet, yet many we blew past. This quarter's production was 20% greater than our goal. 26% this month. And that was with January, when I was assistant list for the entire month. I hear Ashley saying time to raise the goals. Ashley's one of our accountability coaches. And that's great, because at the end of the month, if you decided you were going to do 4 Perio Protects and you did 8, what would you do? You'd be like, oh, we did it. The entire team, we did it. And then now you can say, what should we do next month? Should we keep it at 8? Should we keep it at 4? What should we do? And they're like, we can do 8. We're like, cool, we're going to do 8, right? And then you do 8, and then the next month, you're improving your case acceptance, your verbal skills, your marketing, you're doing what you're supposed to do, you're holding yourself accountable, and then the next month, you're probably going to do 10, right? Because as you're using those verbal skills and patients are not objection blocking you and they're starting a treatment, you're going to get better and better and better, right? Just like if you go to the gym, right? So the first time you go to the gym, and I do yoga, I don't do the gym, but I've done the gym in the past, and I go down and I go to Marlon, and Marlon says, Anissa, take up the bar, and I want you to push it up like this. Show me how many you can do. And I can do like 6. He's like, great, 6 is your number. And then he says, do it again, 6, great, 6, and that's my number. Now, you might be able to do about 12, okay? You might be able to do 12. This gentleman right here might be able to do 20, okay? Is he better than me? No. That's just where he is, that's where you are, that's where I am. This framework works if you're a startup or you're a $4 million business. It doesn't matter. We are where we are. And when I go in and Marlon says do 4, and then next week he says, can you do 6? I say, I think so, it's just 2 more. The next week, can you do 8? I think so, it's just 2 more. And so you incrementally keep growing. Do you guys see how this could help you? Right? Not just in Perio Protect, but within everything that you're doing in your practice. Okay? Not bad. So close to 4 out of 9. The collections were excellent this month. Started Perio Protect and got 2 of those cases going already. It's great. It's great. I'll show you guys this little video. I recently moved to Miami. And when I moved, I was with my friend Jenny, and she's a real estate agent, and we were driving in the car, and all of a sudden she told me, Annie, I want you to just go over there, take that lane over there. So I get in that lane and I'm driving. She's like, oh, this is the express lane, and how it works is, and we're going from Aventura to Miami, how it works is if you just pay a little bit more, we're going to get there faster. And I said, okay, cool, like it's fine. But I didn't really get it because like we're all going the same. So I didn't understand like why I'm having to pay. And next thing you know, about 10 minutes later, all of a sudden the traffic starts to, and I recreated this on a different, but look at this. I'm going slow in the fast lane, and I'm literally like passing all of these cars. That's crazy, right? And as I got to Brickell in about 30 minutes instead of an hour, all of a sudden I started to think about my practice. And I started to think about all of the colleagues that I have a pleasure of working with. And a lot of what I teach is mindset as well as systems. And if I can give you a mindset tool today, And this is not just for doctors. This is not just for your practice, but for your life. I love to coach my teams. That helps them personally as well. I think it's awesome. Because when we do, they're connected, and we all become better people, and we lift up. But one of the biggest lessons that I've learned is that there are always shortcuts. There are always shortcuts, right? Whether you want to, again, go to the gym. When I go to the gym, if I had to walk in and see all of those pieces of equipment, I would be confused. I would not know what I was doing, right? But if I go in there and I have a trainer and I cut a check to my trainer, then all of a sudden now I just need to show up and he tells me what to do, right? And it's the same thing with coaches. It's the same thing with coming to trainings and events like this, right? There's always shortcuts. And so I just want to congratulate all of you for taking time this weekend and come and get this shortcut. Because this is really how we grow. And for me, I love investing in myself and my team and training. It's very, very important. And we're always doing things to be able to grow. I always have at least 2 or 3 coaches that I hire because I like to cut checks for speed. And if you can implement that in your practice and in your life, everything will change for you. So doctors, I want to talk to you about the business cycle. And the business cycle says that the owner's number one job, the owner's number one responsibility in your practice is to invest in your team. Coaching for your team, training for your team, leadership development of your team. I tell you, in my practice, everybody has a title. Everybody is a leader. The person who sterilizes the instruments, they are the director of sterilization, right? They are the director of sterilization. And you know what? Are you director of sterilization? Congratulations. You have one of the most important jobs in the practice. You do. You actually do. Because if the instruments are not clean, we're in trouble. Okay? So to my director of sterilization, I would say, how can we be more efficient to have the instruments sterilized? How can sterilization be more organized so that we can be efficient to get the instruments out? How can we make sure and ensure that our monitoring of our sterilizing equipment is being done effectively? And so I go to you and I say, you're the director. Yes, I own the business. But you know what? You're the director. So you come and tell me. You come up with strategies of how, within your department, within what you're doing, you tell me what you need me to do to make you successful, and you let us know what you're doing to elevate your department, right? My front desk person is not, she is like the patient concierge or the manager of X. Like, everybody's got a title because I want everybody else to lead, right? Because when they do, I can be the CEO of my business and be the visionary like I am now, and I can work because I want to and not because I have to. Meaning that the business is operating with the right people, processes, and tools, and we're scaling, and we have happy patients, and there's a lot of money there to be able to share, right? So we have to invest in our team. We have to get coaching. Not just us. We don't, not only do we need coaching to understand how to run and grow and scale our business, our team needs it as well. And I've found that since we've been coaching teams directly, that's why our practices are growing fast. Right? Because they have what they need. So our number one thing that we need to do is invest in our team, and not just the hygienists for Perio Protect, but everybody. Everybody needs training. Everybody needs training. Then our team can focus on serving our patients hard. Serve them hard. Right? Which means that if we know that their gums, I had a doctor last week. I was looking at her, we were doing a strategy call, and we do a call at the beginning to map out the year, reverse engineer your numbers, and we were doing a follow-up call a quarter into it. And I said, well, what's going on with your Perio Protect? Because I wasn't happy with the results, to be honest with you. And they're like, well, the patients are, the team says that the patients are not wanting to do it because the insurance doesn't cover it. And I said, okay, let me just ask you a question. Do you truly believe that Perio Protect heals our patients, gets them healthier? Do you guys believe it? Everybody here, do you believe it? Yes? Yes. Okay, awesome. I asked the doctor, do you believe that Perio Protect makes our patients healthier? Because I have seen the results. I've seen the results, okay? And you've seen the results. Do we believe? Yes. Okay. You truly believe? Yes. Do you believe we're healers? Yes. Okay. So if we believe that we're healers and we believe that Perio Protect helps our patients heal, it is our moral obligation to have a conversation with every patient about Perio Protect. That's our obligation. We're healers. If we're worried about insurance or any of that stuff, we're not doing our job. Can we all agree on that? Yes. So what's the real issue? That's what I asked the doctor. What's the real issue? The issue is that the team members who are communicating don't yet know how to overcome being objection blocked about the insurance question. I said, do you remember our case acceptance framework? Yes. Are you using it? Can we be real? Are you using it? No. Go use it this week and come back and tell me the results. Right? Because when you go to that, here's the thing, insurance doesn't cover it, but why our patients choose to do it anyway, then now that team member no longer is fearing that the patient is going to objection block them and talk about the insurance, because we've already told the patient, like, can we all agree that if we say insurance is not going to cover it, but why our patients choose to do it anyway, we know we can no longer we can no longer have to fear that the patient's going to tell us no, because we just put it out there. It's human nature, it's psychology, right? And so we need to focus on that. We need to serve our patients hard, whatever it takes. And if they're telling us no, we know the issue is our verbal skills, which is why we're spending time on that today. And we're going to do some coaching. I'm going to do some laser coaching today, okay? When we take care of our patients and we serve them hard, we give them a great experience, right? Like in my practice, I love it. Everything is intentional, right? When they call on the phone, hi, welcome to JCDS. Let me tell you a little bit more about our practice and what we're known for. Tell people what you're known for, and then they'll tell other people what they're known for. I don't know if any of you guys follow me or have been a part of my communities. I'm just curious. Does anybody know what my practice is known for? Anybody? Delivering? Ha ha! Okay, you've never been to my practice, right? Okay, but you guys know what my practice is known for. Why? Because I talk about it. Let me tell you a little bit about our practice is known for. Number one, we're known for seeing our patients on time. We know you're busy. How do we do that? If they're running late, we call them. And we give them courtesy and say, you know what, we're running an hour late, 30 minutes late. You can come on time and have relax in our practice, or you can come a little bit later. We see our patients on time. Number one, we're known for technology and very precise dentistry. We're known for impact in the community. We're known for delivering an amazing wow experience. When you come in, there's going to be hot chocolate for the kids. The kids go to the toy box first. We have a coffee table culture book where you can see what we're doing in the community. We're going to give you an office tour, and yes, at the end of the appointment, you're going to get a warm peppermint scented towel. Right? We let people know. Why? Because we want them to tell their friends what I told them to say about us. That's our brand. What do people say about us when we're not around, right? So everything is intentional. Do a tour in your practice. We have our core values on the wall, right? Our core values are things like pursue growth and learning, right? Deliver a wow experience every time. That's one of our core values. Build a strong team and family spirit. I know my core values. We live them. We hire by them. We fire by them. We hold each other accountable by them. Right? So if we are to give a tour and we don't give a tour, that's not a wow experience, because you got a tour and you told your friend, oh my gosh, they gave me a tour. But you didn't get the tour. So that's not every time. So the core values hold us accountable, right? But when we're focusing on serving our patients hard, they tell their other friends, family, and that grows the business, okay? I am so proud. I am so proud that right now in my practice, I don't have to focus on Google ads. I don't do any of that stuff. I don't do mailers. I very rarely even spend on Facebook ads anymore. I'm going to be honest with you, okay? If you can build a practice that is based on serving people hard, and then you can use social media even to be able to highlight that. You know, if you're doing a patient tour, but now you do it with a camera and do a Facebook video or Facebook Live. Hi, this is Marcia. We're known for doing tours in our practice. Our patients love it. So today I'm just going to give you a tour of our practice and show you around. Well, now you've got 5,000, 3,000 people that are seeing your practice. How many patients do you need in a healthy practice? Right? They see your practice. They see your technology. They see the doctor waving. They see the hygienist. Oh, this is our doctor. This is our hygienist. Oh, here's our XYZ machine. Right? You can spend $50 promoting that on social media, on Facebook, and you've got people seeing it. You have patients coming in. They have a great experience. Intentional. Give them the tour. Give them the warm peppermint scented towel. In my practice, my team members, my dental assistants, one of the best things I've ever done, I invested about $3,000 to have them trained in hand and arm massage. So somebody came in for the local school, certified them in hand and arm massage. They did several hours of training. And now when the patient is being numb, there's a 4-minute period. The dental assistant comes in and does, can I offer you a complimentary hand and arm massage? Or the hygienist is running late. Can I offer you a complimentary hand and arm massage? Our dental hygienists have assistants. There's a reason for that. We can do more hygiene, have them focus on what they're good at and love to do. And we're able to increase efficiency and revenue in our business, okay? But when we do these things, what happens is that our business grows and there's more money, there's more profitability, so the owner can now invest back in the business. Typically, the practice owners that come in and we strategize, I said by Q3 you're going to have cash that you need to figure out what you're going to do with. So let's just decide from now what you're going to do. You're going to pay cash for a scanner. You're going to pay cash for taking your team to a conference. I had a doctor who said she wanted to pay off a line of credit. So she came in and she paid off a line of credit. She bought a scanner, and this last week she took her entire team to the ADA meeting. It's great. Let's reverse engineer it, right? So when you're creating your circle of focus and you put that in by Q3, then what do you have to do in Q1 and Q2 to make that happen? Well, in hygiene, I know what we're going to do. I know what I recommend to all of my practices because it works, is Perio Protect. 100%. You put Perio Protect in, you're going to heal a lot of people and your revenue is going to be a lot higher. No doubt. Okay? You put in, and while you're doing that on the doctor side, you're putting in sleep. Right? Or you're doing, be it really focusing on the clear aligners you said you were going to do, but you really didn't focus on it. You put them together, you're going to explode. Okay? So they can invest in the team. You're making more money. If you're consistently making more money, doctors, like if you're doubling or making an extra $20,000, $30,000, $50,000, whatever a month, would you be willing to share that with your team if they help you make it? Yes? Absolutely. We all do it together. We all pick up the table together and we all win together. That's how it works. Okay? So let's talk about the freedom framework. Okay? Any doctors here feel overwhelmed, tired? Thank you very much. Can we give them a clap for being real? Or is it just me? Right? Anybody feel overwhelmed or tired at the end of the day? Exhausted? Thank you. Everybody? Yeah? Because this is not just for the doctors, actually, right? I can tell you what I love in my dental practice is that I have a lot of time now. I basically just say what I want, and I say, this is what I want, and this is what my thought process is. Now, who can do it? Who will take the lead on it? Awesome. Or my team says, this is what I think we should do, and I say, great. A lot of times people say that, and you're like, well, that's great, but I don't have that. How do I get there? So I'm going to show you how it happened. That's what I love to do. I love to say, this is where I am. Now let me just unpeel the curtain and tell you how I did it. So you can know how I did it, so you can do it, and everybody can have the same. But what's really cool is that it happens for our team members too. We want everybody operating in all of the things that they love to do and they're good at. So sometimes you'll find even in your practice that there are people doing things that they do it because you said, I'd like for you to be able to do this, and they do it because it's their job, but they're not the best person for it. And so I'll just give an example. We had a front desk person who is really good. She's really outgoing. Anybody have an office manager just like this? It's like, hey, how's you doing? How's your sister? How's your mama? Like, is that you? What's your name? Anna. Anna. My daughter's Anna as well. So like everybody loves coming to the office because they love Anna, right? It's true, right? If you don't have an Anna, get an Anna. Right? So my Anna, her name is Carrie. Right? Everybody, she knows everybody, which is great. But this is the thing. Somebody else was doing the marketing. It was my office manager. Why? Because she's willing to do whatever I ask her to do, right? She could do it okay, but she didn't love to do it. So it was always like a chore for her. So we had a meeting and we did an exercise, and I said, okay, let's write down all of the things you really love to do, and you're good at, things you don't like to do, right? And things that you just, you don't like to do and you're not good at. And all of a sudden we realized that Carrie says, well, oh, that's at the bottom of the things you don't like to do, but you're good at? I'll take that. I'll do the marketing. And we're like, great. And then Carrie, who worked at the front on the disc, she's a high I, which means that she's an extrovert, right? And sometimes the high I on a disc, they're not really good with follow through, and they're not detail oriented. Okay, you're smiling. Am I talking to you? Oh, you have that in your practice? Is that what's happened? Oh, it's you. Right? So she was awesome with connecting with patients, but her follow-through was not she was not detail-oriented. And that's just a trait, a personality, behavioral style trait of a high I. It is what it is, right? The people who are detail-oriented typically can be the insurance coordinators. They don't have to be people. I don't care if you're a people person, you're on the phone. But your details are being done and things are not slipping through cracks. So like we want all behavioral styles on our teams, but things were slipping through the cracks with her. Right? So we shifted some of her tasks, which were follow-up tasks that had to be done, to our other team member at the front who is a high C, very detail-oriented. Okay? And all of a sudden now, everybody's happy, everybody's thriving, everybody's leaders, we're all doing a much better job, and we're healthier, okay? Doctors, set your team up for success. Provide your team with the tools, coaching, and training. That's the only way you're going to get unstuck. A lot of times we're like, you know what, I'll do it myself. Why? Because it's going to take too long to train them. Get somebody else to train them. Find the who. Let them do it. We cannot afford to waste time. If we can grow our business now, instead of next year, it's 1 year sooner that we are growing our business, which is the compound effect that's going to happen. We can't afford to wait until next year. We're robbing ourselves of opportunities to be able to grow, to be able to get our time back, to spend more time with our kids and our families, to grow our wealth. This is the tool I love. This is a tool that is put out by EOS, and it's a great tool, Delegate and Elevate. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's a great exercise that you can do for yourself as the owner as well as the team. And what you do is you write down in the upper left-hand quadrant all the things that you love to do and you're great at. Okay? All the things you love to do and you're great at. Upper right-hand side, all of the things you like to do and you're good at. At the bottom, you don't like to do, but you're good at. And then you don't like to do and you're not good at. Okay? And a lot of times we do this exercise, and what we find that doctors writing down oftentimes things like ordering supplies. Any doctors out there still ordering supplies? Right? Why are you ordering supplies, doc? Well, it's only going to be done well if I do it myself. Or, I'm like, what's the real issue? Can we get real for a minute? That's how I coach. Can we get real for a minute? What's the real issue? Well, the real issue, is it something, could it be something like somebody ordered supplies and they over-ordered and they went over budget? Is that what happened? Yes. So is it that you don't trust your team to order? Yes. Okay, fine. Let's just give a budget. That fixes it. Every month you get this amount to spend. And now you don't have to micromanage them. I don't care what my team orders. What I care about is that the materials are there when I need it and you don't go over X amount per month. I don't care what you order. I don't want to know what you order. I have other things I want to do, like spend time with my kids, than to think about what you're ordering. Like, you're the leader of that. I trust you. I know you're going to do your job. You've been trained. There's a system. If I didn't trust you, you wouldn't be in my practice. So I really don't have to know. That's how we get free, right? So all of the things that we don't like to do, if we're good at it or not, if you don't like to do it, you don't need to do it. Somebody else has to do it, which is why we hire team members, okay? And let me say this. I love on my team. I do love them. Love, love, love them. And I want them to achieve everything on their vision boards. But they know that there's 100 things that have to be done in a practice in a day. And if I had the capacity to do everything, or if I wanted to, then I'd keep that money in my pocket, right? But it has to be done, so I hire someone, so those things have to be done. But they have to be trained, right? That's the only way our team members have the capacity to do what we need them to do. And we have to make sure that our team members understand what we expect out of them. Because a lot of times we're not clear. We just put somebody at the front desk and we're not clear of what their responsibilities should be. Another tool that I love to use is a KPI calendar. This is an accountability tool to know what every team member is responsible for. Whiteboards are a daily process to set goals, celebrate team performance, and hold everyone accountable, which we spoke about already, and I love scorecards. So this is another tool to set and track weekly goals for different practice metrics to improve results. And we also love having weekly meetings to review performance and discuss where the team is getting stuck. Guys, all of this is how we're going to grow our Perio Protect practice. Okay, it's not just case acceptance, it's not just marketing. So I'm going to share some tools with you. I'm going to over-deliver today and give you more than case acceptance and marketing, but I want to talk to you the KPI calendars. This is something that you can use to make sure that things are not slipping through the cracks. Accountability is so huge, okay? So huge. And so KPI calendars will allow our teams, and I would love for you to do this exercise next week, is to go in on Monday and say, let's go ahead and have everybody take a sheet of paper out and write down everything that you do today. So I print the production by procedure code report to put it on the huddle board. We call patients who are scheduled to come in next week who were pre-appointed 6 months ago for their hygiene visit to get them to remind them that they have an appointment coming up. Like all of the things that they do daily, okay? Then if there's something that's done weekly, like once a week, you have them write that down, and then monthly. And then now in a meeting you say, okay, who can lead, not the doctor, who can lead taking all of that information and put it on a sheet? Okay? And now you have this to be able to put in your break room. The office manager can have a copy. And the benefits there is that when you have a team member that's out, things are not slipping through the cracks. Okay? Imagine if you have a person who does emails, responds to emails, and that team member is not out, not there that week. What are we going to do? We're not going to email them? All right? We have a team member who calls patients on their birthdays to tell them happy birthday. All right? I remember a few months ago I called my bank. There was something going on with my online banking. And as I called, the customer service rep I said, oh, this is Dr. Holmes from JCDS. I need to check on this. And she says, oh my gosh, Dr. Holmes from JCDS, you're my dentist. Or I go to your office. I was like, oh, that's so awesome. She says, you know what I love the most about your office? She says, every year you guys call me on my birthday. And I was like, oh, yes, we love to do that, right? Now, imagine if Marcia is on vacation or she's sick. Do team members get sick and go on vacation? Okay, so what's going to happen that year when she's sick? She's not going to get a phone call. Is that okay? No. Right? So if we have KPI calendars, then when we're in the huddle, we can say, Marcia is out. What does she need to do? Or maybe we prioritize. What's most important that needs to be delegated can be put at the top, and we can say, who's going to do the calls today? Okay? When we're onboarding a new team member, now we have a checklist of what people need to be trained on. So there's accountability to make sure there's consistency in our training. Do you guys see how this could be helpful for you? Yes? Awesome. So I would love to have you guys to see you do KPI calendars. It's really incredible. I had a team member who's an office manager that was sick for about a month. She had to have surgery. My office manager, the one that runs the business, okay? And she says, Doc, you know what saved us? You know what made me feel that I had peace of mind? Was that they had the KPI calendars. I knew that everybody knew what we did, what I did daily, weekly, and monthly, and they were able to get that done. And it gave me peace of mind that I was okay. This is really powerful stuff, guys. Another tool that I use every single week in our practice, and this is one of the tools that we use for our clients as well, are scorecards. And scorecards allow us, just like the whiteboards do with the services, allows us to track performance of our KPIs in our business. So not just new patients and our production and collection, but our hygiene reappointment percentage. Okay? So how many patients are scheduling their next visit before they leave? We also look at our AR over 30. How many unscheduled patients are being rescheduled? And how this works, just like we use the whiteboards, what happens with the scorecards is we look, this is a weekly tool now instead of a daily tool, so now we're going into weekly. We are looking historically, or what are the numbers every single week for the last 3 weeks, and we follow the same exact system. Okay, so we look at them, we say how much do we want to grow, we increase our goal to that, and every week we see if we're on or off. If we're off, if we're on, we celebrate. And we're like, look at how many patients you got rescheduled. That is crazy. Banana pants, like good job, right? And if we don't, then now we can talk about it in our once a week meeting and say, these 3 numbers are really off. What happened? How can we fix it? Right? And so when I hear practices come into me for helping grow in their businesses, and their AR is like $100,000 or $50,000, I'm like, that's insane. It should never be that way. But the only reason why it is that way is just because there's no system. There was never a system, and that's okay, because we're starting over today, right? And so you can go in, maybe you do an amnesty program, and to clean up AR, you can call patients and say, I'm calling to let you know that your account has come up for audit, and I'm here to help you. So what we're going to do is your balance is $1,000. If you're able to take care of 75% of that today, which is $750, we will remove the $250, and you'll only have to pay $750. We're here to help you. And we can get that done today with American Express, Visa, or MasterCard. Which one of those do you choose? Okay? And with those verbal skills, I've seen practices clean up AR, so we can start fresh. Okay? This is a powerful tool. I remember with my AR in my practice, and we're fee for service, in my practice, I don't want to use like discounting as a way to market, to get patients. If we have the right culture and we serve our patients hard, they're willing to spend an extra $10, $15 for a cleaning. They're willing to, because like we treat them so well, they don't want to go anywhere else. I have a lady that would take like 5 buses, and she did not make a lot of money. She had Sjogren's syndrome and a lot of cavities, needed a lot of crowns. And I was like, Ms. Maxwell, I'm just curious. Like, you've been coming for years, and she pays for 1 crown at a time because that's what she can afford. And I said, why do you take 5 buses to get here? Like, there's so many dentists that are closer to where you are. I'm just curious. And she's like, Dr. Holmes, she said, I just love the way you guys make me feel. She says, so I'll do whatever it takes. I don't have a lot of money. It is what it is. I'll be here, right? So my AR went up 1 week by $5,000. And I was like, that's crazy. What happened there? So I asked Tammy, I said, Tammy, do me a favor. She's our financial coordinator, and she's also my office manager. I said, go and check and see what happened. Like, why did it go up? And she came back and she said, Doc, the reason why it went up is because we have crowns in the drawer. But those patients, don't worry, those patients are coming back this week and we'll be good. I said, okay, but that's not the issue. What's the real issue? The issue is that we were telling patients you could come back in 2 visits. And on the 2nd visit, you could pay the balance. The patient did what we said. In their mind, they said, okay, well, I've got a cavity, I've got a choice. I can fix the cavity and start the crown, or don't do anything. I know I need to fix it, I'll start the crown. I have half the money. I'm going to have the rest coming in a few months. I've got stimulus check coming or whatever. You know, there's money coming in a few months, and when that comes in, I'll do the second half. They've followed exactly what we said, haven't they? Right? So when we switched our verbal skills to the balance is due in 30 days, the balance is due in 30 days or sooner. If you cement the crown sooner, then we no longer had an issue with that. We solved it. But if we weren't looking at this weekly, we would not have solved it. And every Tuesday morning after huddle, before we start, we have a 1-hour meeting, and we're reviewing different things together as a team, as a leadership team. Okay? And this may not be everybody on that meeting, but the leaders of the practice. The person at the front desk manager, we have 7 assistants. We have multiple hygienists, so we have a lead in each area. It's all of the team leads that get together. All right? Very, very powerful tool. And for hygiene, I mean, you can look at lots of metrics here. You can track hygiene reappointment percentage. By the way, guys, that needs to be like 100%. Do you guys know, hygienists, you know your hygiene reappointment percentage? Yes? Many don't. Okay, many don't, and when I see people start using this tool, a lot of times it's in the 80s. Before we started tracking, it was as well, okay, until we put in a system. And the system was, for the hygiene reappointment percentage, what was the real issue? We always ask, what was the real issue? Well, patients are saying they'll call us back. Anybody have that? Patients will call us back? Okay, that's what happened in my practice. Until we changed our verbiage, case acceptance is always based on verbiage, right? So in our process, so we said, so we're going to go ahead and make your next hygiene appointment now. And what we'll do is a week ahead of time on Monday, we'll call you and let you know, remind you of your appointment the next week. And if for any reason you need to move it, we'll move it for you. For example, you're traveling. In my mind, that's the only reason why they need to move it, because they're traveling, right? For example, if you're traveling, we can move it, but now you have priority of day and time because our schedule is always full and we want to make sure you have priority. And also, our job is to take care of you and make sure you're healthy, and we want to help hold you accountable to that, right? I can tell you the reason why people don't schedule is not because of money. They're already there. They can afford a cleaning or they wouldn't be there. That's not the issue. The issue is they're like me. I don't know where I'm going to be. I don't know if I'm going to be traveling. I don't know if my kids are going to have XYZ going on. And I don't want to disappoint you and put something on your schedule and know I can't show up for it. That's the real issue. That's the real reason why, for me, I'm that person who would be like, I'll call you back. That's me. Like this week, I'm speaking here. I was speaking 2 days ago at the Dental Festival in Florida, right? Like next month, I'm speaking for Vivos. Next weekend, Thursday, I'm flying out to see my daughter at her school for Parents Weekend. Like, I'm always on the go. But if they told me that, then I would say, okay, great, because I know I have a way out, okay? And when that Monday comes, then what we do as well as a system is that we go into Dentrix. You know, you have the different colors, left message, set complete, all of that stuff. We created a new one in definitions that was called PREBK, and we made that color red. So in hygiene department, when we set the patient's appointment, we changed their appointment status to red, which is the PREBK, pre-booked. And every Monday, one of our tasks is that they call all patients for the next week, and they just can quickly see on their schedule all of those patients were pre-booked. Then they go ahead and switch them out to another color that shows that they were confirmed or they left a message, and now they're in our regular flow. Do you feel that this would be helpful to get more patients pre-booked? Powerful stuff, okay? Another great tool that we use as well is Asana. And again, this whole first part of our presentation, because we're here together all morning, is on systems for accountability, is using, this is another tool called Asana, which is a free software that you can use to communicate and to be able to delegate tasks in your practice. And so how we have our weekly meeting, which is every Tuesday morning, is we start off with our segue. So our segue is our time for us to come together and check in. We're talking about how do we build practice culture. We need to know each other, okay? So the first thing that we do every week in our meeting is we ask, what is your personal and professional best for the week? Okay, so our personal best could be, I'm really excited. Last weekend, I got to fly out to Connecticut and watch my son. He's on a varsity soccer team. He just started, and he's a sophomore playing varsity, and he played really well. And I drove up to Massachusetts, got my daughter, so I got to see her as well. And we all went to dinner together. It was really great. And my professional best is that patient that Mr. Joe, who's been wanting to delay treatment over and over again, finally started his case, and I'm really proud, right? Or, you know, Tammy's been asking me to contact Perio Protect to do more training or whatever, and I did that, or whatever, right? So every team member says their personal and professional best, which is great, because sometimes team members are doing great things, and we don't even know it as the owner. And now they can go in and say, I talked to this patient, or I was able to do this, and they're proud, and we celebrate wins. And sometimes their personal best is not a best. Sometimes our personal best is not a best. Sometimes it's not a best, and we say, well, I'm not feeling so well. My child was sick, so I was up all night, and I'm tired. I'm exhausted, or my mom is sick, or whatever. And so now you can share it with everyone else, and is that a good thing? Yes, because we're family. We have each other's backs, right? When we have each other's backs on this, our Perio Protect cases go up. Because we're doing everything together. This is how we build a culture of momentum of growing our business. This is how we do more Perio Protect. We connect like real people first, okay? From there, we are able to look at our quarterly goals that we've set. So it could be by the end of the quarter, we want to have healed 30 patients with Perio Protect. We want to do 10 per month. Or maybe we're going to start off with 8, and then we're going to do 12, and then we're going to do 10. But by the end of the quarter, we want to do 30 cases. We want to start X amount of sleep cases. We want to increase our case acceptance percentage from 42% to 65%. Whatever is the biggest, most important thing for you for this quarter, for each team member, can be your quarterly goal. So you have by the end of the quarter to be able to reach that goal. So we'll say, are you on or off for that goal? And if you're off, then we can discuss how can we as a team help you with your rock. So the hygienist rock might be 30 Perio Protect cases. And if she's off, then we can talk about it and say, how can we help you? Do you need more training? Do we need to do more marketing? And you can strategize within that meeting to actually have an action plan together. We do everything together, right? A lot of times doctors say that they're getting sticky notes from their team members, or you're trying to see a patient and the team member's asking you about this, or what should we do this, or how do we implement training? Like all of these questions are coming in and you're overwhelmed, and so you do nothing. A confused mind does nothing. When we can allocate 1 hour a week to being committed to each other, then now we have time for the team to communicate and get feedback from us. And now we can focus the rest of the hours the entire week on treating our patients. And by the way, this is so powerful as well. I'm just curious, in your practices, how many mouths are being fed? How many mouths are being fed in your practice? All right, we've got the doctor, we've got their spouse or partner, their kids. 70 mouths are being fed. Any other numbers? Team members, plus their spouses, plus their kids. Sometimes it's an aging parent or sibling that's living in the home. How many mouths are being fed in the practice? A lot. Is it the best use of, and let's be real, the doctor's time to be doing anything other than cutting teeth? Hygienists as well, which is why we have hygiene assistants. Anything the hygienist doesn't have to do, I want delegated to somebody else. So now she can focus on that 30 minutes where she's scaling. She doesn't have to do x-rays. She doesn't have to clean up the room. Like, she just goes from room to room and they're ready for her, right? And that doesn't mean that the assistant is the same, just as important as the hygienist, so we can get the result. But the providers, like, they should not be doing anything else. That's why we have our team, okay? Because we've got a lot of mouths to feed. So the doctor should not be, everything the doctor should be saying, what do you want to do? Good, do it. Elevate, leaders, leaders, leaders. Have the team members have their quarterly rocks. But what happens is that in this meeting, we come together so that the team can get support, so that they can do their job, and they can get our feedback, and they can let us know what they're doing, and we can give feedback. Powerful, okay? From there, we look at any previous to-dos, and to-dos could be things like, the team assistant may come and say, Doc, we need to get a new sensor. I say, okay, great. Is that okay, Doc? Yeah, no problem, get the sensor. Do me a favor, go and, will you take the lead on this? Yes. Accountability handover. Go ahead and do some research on some sensors. Here's a few that I'm thinking about, and we'll decide next week. Or we can actually make it a task in Asana, and when she has the links, she can go ahead and put the link in there, and she can tag me, and we can communicate through the card. So my practice is no longer in the state that I live in, which is crazy. Yeah. We communicate through here. I don't even have to be in the room. I don't have to be in a state. I don't have to be in a city. And we can communicate, and accountability is being done. So that task would be assigned to her from the meeting with a date of when she is to complete that task. And in the interim, we can communicate through the cards, which is really cool. So we look at previous to-dos, and then at the bottom is where we discuss any issues. So we could have an issue. And a team can be like, we have an issue. We're having a lot of broken appointments. Then in that meeting, we can discuss what's the real issue. Why are we having broken appointments? It's normally verbal skills or a lack of accountability system. Pretty much always the same thing. Okay? Some other cool things just to show you Asana. I love it. I love it. It has so much accountability in there. You can do, just dump out all of your ideas of things that you want to do for systems, for marketing. You can create different boards. For example, here, this could be a board for internal exercises and training that we want to do for our team. I can go in there as the doctor and assign that task to my dental assistant and say, in next week's lunch and learn, again, I'm not even there now, but if I wanted to do this, I can assign it to her. Maybe I'm traveling. I think I did this task when I was traveling to speak, when I was still working in my practice. And I said, I attached the behavioral style assessment, and I said, have the team do this at next Thursday's lunch and learn. She's like, all right, doc, no problem. She opens that up, and it attaches the file of what she must do. So this is like a behavioral style assessment. Have you guys done behavioral style assessments yet in your practice? Has anybody not yet done behavioral style assessments yet in your practice? So powerful, okay? I love this simple one. Instead of disc is lion, beaver, golden retriever, and otter. So the lions are people who are leaders. They are very confident, and they are definitely the action takers in the practice. The beavers are very detail-oriented, okay? The otters are the life of the party. They are very outgoing, and the golden retrievers are very calm, and they have sensitive feelings. They're very loyal, and within our practice, we want to understand this of each other, because there are times when we have a team member who is, again, my hygienist, for example, very outgoing. She knew all of the patients, but she would never write her chart notes. And it was driving everybody nuts. Okay? Oh, it sounds like you have that same lady in your office, right? Is that you? Right? And so now that we understood that she was an otter, that meant that she was the opposite of the beaver. You see how they cross? She was the opposite of the beaver, so now we could give her a little grace and say, now we understand, because you are an otter, you're not a beaver, that's going to be hard for you. But what does it mean? It means that we have to still get it done, so she either has to have some sort of accountability system for support, which could be her assistant checking her chart notes before they set the patient complete, or it could be saying, now you know that this is an issue, you have to stretch yourself. And this is not about you. You're not a bad person. You're just an otter. Right? So now they don't feel bad. Like, I'm not insulting them. You're just an otter. It is what it is. Let's just stretch ourselves. Or we have people who are too shy, too quiet, and they might not, and we might want them to be a bigger leader in the practice. Or more like a lion's trait, and we can challenge them. You know what? You can be that leader. I know you don't believe it, but I believe it. Step into leadership. Stretch that muscle. You can do it. Or sometimes the lions, they're too assertive. They just tell it like it is. Right? And they need to learn how to be more sensitive to people's feelings. Right? Yes? But this is also our patients. This is people, not team members. This is people. So when we hire, on my practice's website, we actually have a page that says hiring or looking for a job or whatever. They go to that page. It's a photo of our team with our core values. So they can learn our core values and see a picture of our team. It also has pre-interview questions. We use WooFoo. We create a WooFoo survey that has pre-interview questions on there. With WooFoo, you can also have where people can upload a document, so they can upload their resume. So now everything gets saved in one place. And WooFoo, you're liking that, aren't you? Yeah, it's so cool. You embed it in, and we have a photo of here, and we have this form. We have a photo of it, and we have, please provide your highest to lowest in order. So we'll have lion, beaver, golden retriever, and otter. So before we even call them on the phone, all right? We have pre-interview questions answered, and some of them are things like, are you able to work on Saturdays? Okay? And that's important because we do work 2 Saturdays a month. And there have been times where we've had people to put in a request and they can't work on a Saturday, perhaps because of a religious belief. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not going to hire them. In fact, I have one team member in my office who can't work on a Saturday, but I knew that before I hired her. Okay? But if it's non-negotiable and you have one spot and they have to work on a Saturday, wouldn't it be better to know that before you even brought them in for an interview? Right? Or are you able to travel? Right? So we have that. But this is really powerful because if I'm looking for a front desk person and I need them to be my carry, who's going to be like, hey, what's going on? And I'm looking for that position, I really do want them to be an otter. I do. Or I definitely don't want them to be a golden retriever. Right? So it doesn't matter if you have 20 years of experience in a dental practice, but depending on what I'm hiring for, I love for my dental assistants to be golden retrievers because they're so nurturing and kind and caring. For me, the beavers, I love for them to do day sheets and ledgers and insurance. My office manager, I love for her to be a lion because I need her to be the leader and lead the business. But I also want her to be a beaver. I want her to be able to follow through with tasks as well. And my office manager is a lion and a beaver. I'm not saying your office manager has to be. That's just, in my experience, what I like and what I have in my own office. So it's really interesting. And if you're not that, then now that you understand, you can stretch yourself to be more of that trait. Does that make sense? Yes. Awesome. Some other really cool things that we can do with the sauna is we are able to, this is really cool, for the office manager and the doctor, is to be able to have a board for your bills. So all of the bills get placed in here, and this is a private board with the doctor and the office manager. And she can put in there all of the bills that need to be paid every month so that nothing slips through the cracks. And she can also attach the bill so I can literally be somewhere else and open it up. We can do the same thing with paying the associates with their copy of their scanned day sheets with the calculations of their percentages. It's really cool. And now we can communicate with the card that it is done. You can see here other tasks like book tickets. We have a trip. Can you book the tickets for XYZ? It's really, really cool for communication. A lot of people don't know about this. A few years ago, I told you guys I love to hire people and do stuff. So I went and did, in the marketing area, I joined Russell Brunson's mastermind to understand digital funnels. I've also went and I wanted to understand EOS more, so I went to training to become a professional EOS implementer. But I also, within the mastermind that I'm in, there was a guy who helped a company to scale to $1 billion valuation. And he did it by using people, processes, and tools. That's where I learned that concept from. But the tool was using Trello or Asana. And that was the main thing that he taught these business owners. And how do you scale from $1 million to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to $100 million company? And he says, I work with this company, but I have 3 outside clients at a time, and it's $65,000 to teach you my system. And I was like, cool, I want to learn it, and I want to teach it. And so we teach practices how to use Asana. But it's really powerful to be able to have accountability and to be able to log in and see all of your tasks that need to be done. It's really, really cool. This is Dr. Sonia Chopra. Anybody know Sonia? eSchool? Anybody have heard of eSchool? She has an online school which is great called eSchool. So for general dentists that want to learn more about endo, and she now has where you can fly out to North Carolina and actually do hands-on courses. But she came to me 4 years ago at my event, and she said, Anissa, I know your story. I know that you were at a place where you wanted to grow your practice to the point where you could have time to spend more time with your family. And that was me, and I didn't tell that part of the story. When I went to dental school at Alabama, I was there practicing for 8 years. And then when I met my then husband, he said, I want to move back home. He was an oral surgeon doing his residency in oral surgery. And he said, I want to move back home. And when I moved there, I actually moved to Jamaica, which is where he grew up. He's half Jamaican. And when we moved there, I didn't have any money to build my practice. I couldn't get a loan because I'm not from there. And so I put my entire practice on credit cards, my US 0% interest credit card. So I was credit card to pay credit card to pay credit card. And I had basically a year to figure this out, right? And so I put equipment, but my passion, my why was that I was going to be able to become the best practice known for delivering well. But as I started to get into it, I realized, oh my gosh, I need to learn how to grow my business and scale my business. And so I started doing Facebook marketing, which led to understanding how to grow practices through Facebook. But I also discovered at that time that I was working so much that I didn't have any time to spend with my kids. And that was not okay with me. And my friends who are entrepreneurs or who had jobs, who worked for companies, they would get vacation. And I was like, I can't get vacation. And this is not okay. I want to be able to have a vacation too, right? And so I set myself a goal that in 2 years that I would be able to take a month off every summer to be with my kids. And that was important to me. And so I said, well, what sort of business am I going to have? What sort of team am I going to have? What sort of processes am I going to have that I can take off for a month and my practice can run independent of me and money can be made? And then I'm like, well, how many associates am I going to have? Because if money's going to be made and I'm not there, then somebody's got to be making the money. And we did it. So the first year, I hired a business coach. I didn't have any money to do that either, but I put it on a credit card. And I was like, if she's helped other people, I know she can help me. And that year, we tripled our revenue. The next year, I paid off all of the loans, and we built a new office cash. And it was incredible. And we were able to, in 2 years, get to the point where every summer we've been able to do things. We've been to Africa, we've been all over Europe, South America, Central America, all over. And it was based on building this business that worked for me instead of me working for my business. But Sonia came to me and she's like, I want that for me. I want to spend time with my kids. And what's cool is that when I take a lot of my vacations, sometimes my teams are getting vacations too. And somebody will work at the front desk, and sometimes they don't, right? But it's been incredible. And she says here, Anissa, and this is about Asana, I have to say thank you for giving me a way to live my life while still running a practice. My practice no longer runs me. I just took my first 1-month summer vacation with my family to Croatia. Next year, we're taking 5 weeks. It was great. I was able to still watch behind the scenes through Asana what was getting done, and things are actually getting done. I want you to know that what you're learning are the first steps to creating a life of time and financial freedom and the ability to grow so you can invest in the best people, invest in your team's success, and together provide the best care to people in your communities. You're developing skills of leadership, confidence, overcoming resistances, delegating, elevating, and more. You're also learning that there's power in empowering your team so that they feel valued and appreciated, and know that working side by side with you is how they can experience their own personal next level of growth. How we grow businesses and how we implement our Perio Protect, I just really want you guys to understand, which is why I've spent so much time here this morning, right? We have amazing success with Perio Protect. Our practices are doing it, but I need you to know it's not just the hygienist, right? It's not just the dentist, it's the team, it's the family, it's the culture. When you do that, you don't have to worry about expensive marketing. I'm going to share with you strategies today that are going to help you with marketing that are so low cost. Some of them are free. So powerful. But it's all connected to our team. It's all connected to our why and our purpose. And I mean, this goes back to the original why. right? Why build a great business so everybody can have more? It's really, really powerful. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start talking about the circle of focus. And I'm going to share with you between now and 10:30, which is the time of our break, I'm going to share with you the strategies of how we can start reverse engineering and hold ourselves accountable to the Perio Protect and hold ourselves accountable to growing our practices so that we can have all of that. Yes? Are you guys ready? All right. How many of you guys are like a little afraid of like Google Sheets or like Excel sheets? Yes? It's okay. It's all good. I'm going to break it down. So I love to teach and coach like I'm talking to a 5-year-old, okay? And that's what we have to do with our patients too, by the way. All right? You notice when I talked about Perio Protect, I didn't get into a lot of technobabble. I just said it's kind of like, what it is it's just something that you put in your mouth, kind of like a bleaching tray. That's it, right? When we talk about crowns, right, or implant crowns, then we say, and so what it is, there's something that we can do to replace that missing tooth. Would you like to learn more? Yes. Great. It's called an implant and a crown. And how it works is we put something in that looks just like your tooth that you can chew on that doesn't come in and out. That's it. I'm talking like every time we communicate, we need to talk like we're talking to a 5-year-old. So I'm going to teach you like you're a 5-year-old. All right? So what are the things that we need to look at and is great for accountability and allows us also to implement our why, or looking at what I have created with one of our frameworks, which is, I call it the circle of focus, which is what I've created the name for this. And how it works is we are able to know in our business the profitability of our practice on a week-to-week basis. Does anybody know how much their business makes, owners or team members? Actually, my office manager knows as well. By the way, the office manager's job is not to be the front desk person or answer the phones or even be the office manager. The office manager's job, office managers, raise your hands. I love when I have office manager. Your job is now COO. You are the COO of the business. Your job is to run the practice. Your job is to empower the team, love on your team, make sure things are not slipping through cracks, and take care of your doctor. Anything that they need, their vision, your job is to get it executed by leading other people to do the things. That's your job. Are you guys okay with that? Yes, right? So I love that my office manager, which means that my office manager, my COO, if they're running the company, they have to know the numbers. Not everybody does, but they should know the numbers, okay? I used to feel weird about that at first, too. I remember my coach telling me this. I'm like, what? I don't want them to know. Most times we don't want them to know how little we're making, that the business is kind of upside down, right? But when she started to look at that, she was like, holy crap. And now my scheduler actually completes this every week because my office manager has delegated that to her, which is even better. But it's great when my scheduler has it because now what happens is that when she sees that we're in week 3 and we still have not made a profit yet, it's going to hold her even more accountable to scheduling. And by the way, I just want to tell you a quick story. When I was 7 years old, I wanted to get a new doll. I wanted to get a Rainbow Bright doll. Anybody ever seen that Rainbow Bright doll? Oh yeah, she had like yellow hair and blue hair. She was like it, right? I wanted a Rainbow Bright doll. So I went to my mom and I'm like, Mom, I want to get this reverse engineering, reverse engineer, right? I want to get this doll, Mom. Can I do a lemonade stand tomorrow? And she was like, all right, cool. So I'm from New Orleans, so we go to Winn-Dixie. We're in Winn-Dixie with the cart, and we get the ice and the cups and the sugar and everything. And the next morning, I wake up, I knock on the doors, and I say, hi, I'm Anissa. I live around the corner, 7140 Yorktown Drive, and I'm going to have a lemonade stand today. I'm trying to buy a Rainbow Bright doll, and if you could come at 12 o'clock, like, I'd be so grateful. So 12 o'clock comes, and all of a sudden, I'm sitting there, and there's a line all the way down the street. And all of a sudden, they come. I sell all of the lemonade, all of it. They drink the lemonade. They love the lemonade. And I am happy because I've made $17.38. I'm about to get my doll. I'm so excited. I'm like, Mom, I'm going to get my doll. And she's like, Anissa, I am so proud of you. You had a great product. Right? Everybody drank it. You had good marketing. Everybody showed up. Right? You had a great idea for a business. It worked. But what I need you to understand today is you did not make $17.38. Today you made $3.48. Because the cups and the ice and the tablecloth and the napkins, that's what it took to actually make the $3.48. And that's what it means when you have a business. So I need you guys to understand that the overhead, the expenses, right? That's what you have to use, or that's what's necessary to make the profit. So far too many people talk about production and collections. Honestly, I do care about it because that's what drives the money in from the top, but that's not what I make. And I need everybody to understand that. And I teach teams this. I coach teams on this, and they understand this. And it's important for everybody to understand this, okay? Because when we have a $10,000 day, no, for that hour of time, we have got utilities. We've got rent, right? We've got all of the expenses there. And we also have the supplies. We have all of the team salaries for that hour. Okay, all of the mouths that are being fed. So that's important. And so what we start doing is we look at this budget sheet, and typically what I'll do is we have production, we have collection, and collection percentage. I want the collection percentage, first of all, to be as high to 100% as possible. And if it's not, you know what that tells me? Data gives us information to make decisions. That's what it does. We have to have data. That's the tool. The process is to look at it by a person. That's the people, okay? So what happens is that if collection percentage is not close to 100%, either checks are not in a drawer, checks are in a drawer, not in the computer, statements have not been sent out, we're giving out adjustments to people we shouldn't be. How many people, if the person goes to church with you, if they went to elementary school with you, like you're giving them a discount? Like, is it just me? I used to do that stuff until I understood my profit margins, and I realized I cannot do that. This is a business here. I can't, right? And a lot of times they're not expecting it anyway. It's in our mind. It's our belief, okay? But we start looking at this, and what we do is we start putting in our, going back to collection percentage, we want that to be as close. Maybe we're writing off too much for PPOs. There's an exercise I do with our clients that helps them to understand that the profit margins. In the exercise, we take all of the fixed expenses and we divide it in the team costs, and we divide it by the number of hours that we're working, okay? This is very powerful. If you can take this and nothing else, it's powerful. And what happens is that we now calculate, and I give them a sheet, and it shows them like the 20 most popular materials that we use in a filling. And believe me, guys, there's a lot of things. The cup, the needle, the bib. We don't even think about it. There's adhesive. There's flowable. There's polishers. There's points. There's polishing strips. There's interproximal flossers, floss, mouthwash. Like, there's like 20-something things. We don't even think about it. And once we do the exercise, what's very revealing is most people come up with an average cost when they enter in their expenses and their team costs of about $110 on average is how much it costs to actually do a filling. And then I'll say, well, how much are you charging? And they'll say, oh, we're charging $350 or $300, $200. I'm like, that's great. Well, how much are you actually getting? Like, what's your real fee? That's Disney World, okay? Like, I can charge $5,000 for a filling if I wanted to. That's Disney World because I'm never going to get it, all right? Like, put your real fee in there. How much, and then, like, I did the actual exercise. I did a workshop 2 days ago with teams and team leads, and I'm like, and they're like, oh, we get $80 from one of our insurances. I'm like, oh, so you're upside down. We get $120. I'm like, oh, so the doctor's making $10. Docs, you probably should just work at Walmart. Welcome to Walmart, because you make more, right? When you have that information, it's so powerful, then now you can finally grow instead of having a busy practice and everybody's getting paid instead of you getting paid. It's real. It is what it is, all right? So on our sheets, what we want to do, this is now a weekly tool as well. The process is every week that production by procedure code report, it has the revenue attached. So every Monday, they're going in and updating the fees of the production by service from that same report. The same one that we get for the whiteboard, it also has the fee. You put that in there, and then now what happens is that we're able to get the total production. We put the collections in there. So now we know revenue per service. So now we can look at behavioral changes per service. Now we can reverse engineer strategies for growth on that service. Perio Protect is one of them. All right, so at the bottom of the sheet, as we scroll down, we have all of our expenses that we can put in as well. And the difference between our costs that we have, our amount coming in, and our expenses is what's left, right? That's our profit. So now we're able to know on a weekly basis what our profits are, and that's what the business is actually making. Because most people don't know what their business makes. They just see what gets put into the bank, and that is not what we make. Can we all agree on that? Awesome. Good stuff. All right, so at the bottom, we're able to see what our actual profits are. So this is where it gets fun, okay? One of the things that I love to do probably the most is get on a call and create the strategy because it's so exciting what we see, okay? So typically what we do is now that we have this information, we'll go in and I'll say, well, what was the best month in this practice? This is a real practice. And you can see that because this was a 2020, this was looking back at the COVID year, the 2020 year, where the practice was closed for 2 months. But the best month of the year was in October, and they did $97,000. And I'm like, okay, that's awesome. What made it the best month? Why did you have the best month? And they did $25,000 in implants. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Okay. And there are other months in implants they didn't do much of anything. And I'm like, well, what did you do to make $25,000 when you hardly ever do implants? And she's like, oh, we did an all-on-4 case. I'm like, oh, okay. You want to do more all-on-4? And she's like, I think so. I said, well, what would hold you back from doing more all-on-4? Do you need more training? Clinically, are you competent? Like, can we get real? And she's like, honestly, I probably should do more training. I'm like, do you want to do it first quarter? Like, when do you want to do more all-on-4? You want to do that immediately? Because if you want to do more training, maybe we're going to start doing that in Q2. Maybe Q1 we focus on something else. And she's like, I want to do it. I'm like, oh, great. So that means that in the first quarter, you can do more training in that particular service. We also noticed that the second highest month, I always ask that question, she had Crown and Bridge was the highest ever. And I was like, okay, you want to do more Crown and Bridge? And she's like, I do. And she's like, but I need to go to one of the institutes or whatever and learn more, be more confident in Crown and Bridge. I'm like, okay, great. We'll think that through. And then we started to look across, and I start looking at inconsistencies in services. I start looking at inconsistency in services and inconsistency in patterns. And don't underestimate the small things, okay? Sealants. Sealants, she had like hardly anything in sealants, and she'd have like 800 and something like that. You guys truly believe that sealants will prevent a cavity? Is anybody, if you do believe that sealants will prevent a cavity, raise your hands just so I can see. So the far majority, some people don't believe, and if you don't believe it, you don't need to talk about it. But I am actually a believer of sealants. When I was in dental school, Dr. Filler, that was really his name, Steve Filler, at UAB, I go to the clinic, and he says, there's something we can put on your tooth to prevent a cavity. You want to have it. He's like, it's a sealant. At that point, I was my first semester, so I didn't know about sealants. And I said, sure. He says, we can put them on your teeth. We'll paint it on the top of the tooth. Sugar, food, bacteria can't get through it. It'll prevent a cavity. You want to do them while you're here? I'm like, well, of course, right? So for 10 years, I'm doing sealants in my practice for the hygienist. Every time I'm like checking. Now, he was not trying to sell me anything. Dental schools are not trying to sell anything to a dental student. Definitely not a sealant. But he was an academic professional talking to an adult about a sealant. But I was never talking to my patients about a sealant. But I was doing them by myself. What a hypocrite. Why? Why? Because insurance doesn't cover it. Because I was telling myself that story. When I changed the story to there's something you can do to prevent a cavity, we want to know more? Yes, it's called a sealant. How it works is we paint it on the top of the tooth. Sugar, food, bacteria can't get through. It'll reduce your chances of getting a cavity. Now, here's the thing. Insurance doesn't always cover this. But why our patients choose to do it in anyways, because number one, it doesn't take a lot of time. You can do this in 5 minutes or less, perhaps. Doesn't cost a lot of money. It's a fraction of the cost of a filling. And number three, it'll give you that peace of mind. We have time today to go ahead and get started. Should we go ahead and get your sealants done while you're already here? If you were using that script, how many sealants do you think you could do in a day? How many more patients? A lot. What if we just did one at $30? Some people charge more. I like to undershoot instead of overshoot. If we undershoot, we don't believe it. That would be $2,500 a month. And sealants, times 12. That's a scanner. Cash. That's a nice student loan payment. That's a piece of money that you can put on an investment property for passive income. That's money you can bonus to your team, whatever you want to do with it. Don't underestimate the small stuff. I looked at my whiteboard a few months ago and I was like, why are we only doing like 20 fluorides? Because we're not focusing on it. We focused on it, say the same script for fluoride. We did 175 fluorides that month. We did $5,000 in fluoride. How much does a bottle of fluoride cost? And we're helping people. We're healing them. Powerful. Okay? So we start looking at that. And I'm like, what if we actually started doing sealants? And we did one more for 4 months. Just one. You think by month 5 you'd have the confidence to do 2 more? Yes? Okay, great. After 8 months, could you do 5 patients? Yes? Okay, so at the end of the year, you have $42,000. What if we did that and we started focusing on crown and bridge in Q1, but not all on 4 because you've got to do more training? All we're going to do is crown and bridge. You're going to do your marketing. We're going to focus on your verbal skills for case acceptance, for crown and bridge. Everybody's going to understand that we're doing crown and bridge. Our Facebook Lives are going to be about crown and bridge. So today we're talking about the difference between people, Facebook Live, why some people have the dark here at the gum line and how you can get rid of it. Okay? The hygienist, every patient that comes in for a crown, they're having time to talk to them about it. We're all focused on conversations. We're focused on verbal skills. We're all focused. Everybody's focused. And we just did the best that we did. We did one, did just the same that we did the last month, and we started to do a little more, a little more, a little more. Next thing we are at $399 for the year, additional. Okay? And what if we started doing all in 4 Q2? One case for every month, one case, just one case, it'd be $180,000. Or what if you did sleep? Or what if you did Perio Protect? That particular case, in this practice, they weren't implementing Perio Protect yet. They are now, because that was in 2020. They are now. Just by implementing sealants, focusing on crown and bridge in Q1, and focusing on all in 4 in Q2, by Q3, they had cash. That they could even dump in marketing and do Google ads if they wanted to for all-on-4 cases because they had the money to do it. Right? Doubled. And what about Perio Protect? If we use the verbal skills that we're teaching today, if you use the marketing that we're showing you today, you're going to be, and you are a true believer that you are a provider and you heal people and you have conversations and it's everybody on the team. Let me ask you, how many patients more, because I know many of you are providers already, could you do in a month? How many more? Can we call out some numbers? If everybody's on board. Could we do 2? We could do 12 more. Okay. Any other numbers? You guys are really overshooting it. I love it. I like to think small and realistic, but consistent. Okay? And put it on your whiteboard. Put your 40. And that's, you use that tool. But I look at this to reverse engineer a year out financially. Right? If we did 2 cases, and then we doubled that, and then we did 4, and we did 4 for the next 4 months, and then we only added on 2 more, the financial implications would be huge. So in my practice this year, my circle of focus, and we're pretty much time for the break now, and this I'll end on this slide. My circle of focus for my practice this year, when I did this planning with my office manager and my associates, my goal was to increase, this is crazy, $1 million in profits this year in my practice. I didn't say revenue. Profits. This was my circle of focus. Q1, Perio Protect. And we're about to frickin' rock it. Because we've been doing training, we're going to do more training. The whole quarter is about Perio Protect. That's what we did, right, Tanya? The entire quarter. We put it on our whiteboard. We're tracking it daily. I normally don't give a bonus, but I just said, let's just have fun and give a bonus. If we do X amount of cases, everybody will get Y. If we do that, you'll get Z. We hit it. Of course we did, because we're focused on it. Everybody focused on it. Okay? Second quarter was laser. We implemented laser. I flew out Elaine Rodriguez. We did laser training, and that was great. We bought lasers. Third quarter, I knew the only way I would get that profit number is I need to have another doctor because I needed another provider. I set the goal that in Q3 we were going to implement sleep, and we're doing it now. And we're going to implement putting in another provider to focus on the sleep. And interestingly, in Q3, we hired our associate. It took us all 6 months to find them. And I knew it would take time, so I put that for Q3. Last month, I hired another associate. This year, I hired 2 because we're growing so much because we our verbal skills and the momentum that we built up. Okay? Guys, you can reach any goal that you want with the right people, processes, and tools. You want to make sure you have the systems and you reverse engineer how. You guys believe? Awesome. All right, so we are going to go to break. After break, we are going to focus on case acceptance. So we're going to be breaking down the frameworks for case acceptance. We're going to do a little role playing, and then we're going to go into the marketing piece. I think Tanya has an announcement before we head out.